some tea with tea on this Talk Therapy Tuesday. I'm Tanya McLean-Nicholas, licensed marriage family therapist and owner of Renewed Hope Counseling. Being a parent to both a daughter and son has taught me great lessons. And one huge lesson is having the opportunity to see that girls and boys, men and women, respond to and interpret the world differently. All children have a basic need for love, attention, affection, discipline, and guidance, but how it's communicated to boys and girls may be different. Sometimes they may speak different languages. The choice of words you may choose to deliver a message to your daughter may solicit a totally different response from your son. Why? Because it's being filtered through two different lenses, the pink lens and the blue lens. I'm reading a book that explains a possible reason why. It's called Mother and Son, The Respect Effect by Dr. Emerson Eggerichs. And he points out that boys have a deep-seated need for respect, even stronger than their need for love. So in the book, he encourages mothers to use language that reflects respect and honor to their sons, affirming their character and abilities. It also goes on to say that using a language of respect actually encourages boys to respond back in love, a language that we women understand clearly. Dr. Eggerichs also talks about this same concept in his book for couples called Love and Respect. So today's topic, I'm talking about the respect talk, stopping the mother and son crazy cycle. So go ahead and grab your coffee or your tea and let's dig in. Let's talk about this crazy cycle. Moms, your boys are a man in the making. Studies have shown that men are much more sensitive, vulnerable, and reactionary to feeling inadequate and disrespected. When your son feels disrespected or his feelings are dismissed, you may see an unloving response from him towards you. And moms, when you experience an unloving response from your son, this may cause you to become angry and speak in a harsh tone, use words that sound like criticism or contempt, when actually you may just be disgusted with their behavior, but your response is being filtered through their lenses of disrespect, just as their response to you is being filtered through the lenses of love. The cycle goes round and round and round, with the ending result being shut down, stonewalling, or even withdrawal. Or the cycle of you see yelling, and then there's crying, and then there's regret, because we regret what we may have said. If you stop for a moment and think about the words you use when pointing out undesirable behavior, is it shameful? Is it hurtful? Especially if you're feeling disrespected in the moment. Do you start the conversation with a raised tone, maybe a pointing of the finger, a rolling of the eyes? Do you use words like you never, you always? What is wrong with you? What about using words like lazy or selfish? This question is not to shame moms, but to evaluate the approach that may be creating further disconnection in the relationship. Mom, you may say things out of anger that you may not mean, and you expect your son to know you love them, but your sons may be interpreting those words as you don't like them, respect them, or you find them undesirable. Of course, this is not the intent. Most reactions to your sons are driven by the love you have for them. So it's important that boys hear languages that communicate your respect for their person in the midst of not respecting their bad behavior. And having the ability to separate the two is really important. Ask yourself, is there any vocabulary words that communicate to my son that I hate them, or that maybe there's contempt for them, or there's despise for them, that you find them unacceptable or maybe less than they ought to be? Then if so, then try focusing on respect talk, words that separate person from the behavior. Some ways you can do this is by using the word respect often. When correcting them, tell them you respect their heart and who God made them to be. But when you break trust or disobey, you're acting in a way that is not honorable. Tell them you don't want to disrespect them, but that their behavior is not respectable. This is their language. Tell your son the great qualities that they have and frame it in the form of respectable behavior. They're hardworking, they're creative. Remind them of the man that they were created to be, with integrity, good character, strength, and wisdom. Tell them you respect their willingness, their honesty, their strong will, and how that will be an asset as a man who doesn't follow the crowd later. As women, we're wired for words. Your son may not be the same, and that's okay. Don't expect their only communication to be looking you directly in the eyes and being able to express their emotions. Try connecting by joining them in activities, maybe working out, taking walks, playing games. Sign up for a race. You'll be surprised how this will open the door for more verbal communication. And don't be afraid of this silence. I know this is a tough one. Trust me, I know. Because so many parents complain that their sons won't talk. Just continue to make room for safe communication. We want the communication to not feel like interrogation. And always speak honestly to your sons. My encouragement to have respect talk does not mean you flatter your sons with a bunch of false compliments and admiration. With integrity, you can still esteem them and still guide and correct as needed. Your son should know that your reaction to their misbehavior is because you think so highly of them, that you cannot let them get away with such behavior that dishonors other people and even, most importantly, themselves. If you're having a difficult time finding things that you respect about your son in the moment of conflict, then that tells you you need to take a time out so that you have a moment to think about it and then reconvene before you give your correction or your rebuke of their behavior. Respect. That is the key to your son's heart. Parenting is difficult, and our job is to make sure that we parent our sons with respect, honesty, and integrity. Well, that's it for today. I hope that you enjoyed your tea with tea on this Talk Therapy Tuesday. I'm Tanya McLean Nicholas, and I hope that you have an amazing rest of the day.